This is TWiT.
And I've talked to a few female engineers who are in charge of hiring who say it's still hard to find other female engineers, and whether it's the leaky pipeline or for whatever reason. Do you find that to be true?
Not at all. I have so many friends who are engineers. I know so many women, and I don't think it's difficult to find them at all. I think it just requires a little bit of effort. They do exist, and they're amazing. And if anyone needs to find any, please feel free to contact me. I have plenty of recommendations, and they're absolutely amazing. So I don't think that's the case.
And so when you say it requires a little more effort, like, can you give me any specifics?
Well, not for me. I know a lot of amazing women. But usually if you find a couple of women you respect or think have a great background, simply go talk to them. They probably have a network of other women that they can refer you to. So that's the best way to go about it.
So when you were you in charge of hiring people for your app that you developed or your startup, or
Absolutely.
And so not in the big, not at Microsoft or eBay. You weren't hired. Did you hire people there as well?
I did. I hired people at Microsoft, eBay. I interviewed a lot of people at Salesforce. I've done hundreds of interviews of candidates, both junior and more senior, typically in product, but also engineers as well.
I forgot to mention that you were at Salesforce. Sorry.
No worries.
And so you said it's not difficult to find these people to interview. Did you find it difficult at any of the places you worked for to convince other people? Did you feel like there was still a bias as you were in hiring?
There was no clear bias. I definitely believe there is bias, but it's one of these things where it's hard to see. Only occasionally will you see signs of it and red flags that point you to bias. I think definitely with women tend to undersell themselves and tend to seem a little bit more shy than men do in general, from my experience. Not all, but many of them. So that I see, I happen to work in a lot of organizations that had amazing women who were senior. And so in those cases, I did not see that much bias. But there were some organizations I worked in that had an inordinate number of men coming through the interview pipeline and not enough women. And that's definitely an issue and something that I pointed out and worked to remedy and to get more women into the pipeline. Just getting more women into the interviewing pipeline is step one. And then step two is getting them through that pipeline and getting them hired. So there are challenges in every step of the process, definitely.